All right. Mr. Turner, go ahead and confirm in the chat that we are definitely live right now. I'm pretty sure. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Miller, and I'm a project manager at the Ohio State University Drug Enforcement and Policy Center. Before I share my screen, I just want to double check if Councilmember Dorns is in the audience right now. If you are, put something in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going forward with my presentation. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and record. All right. So like I said before, my name is Hannah Miller. I'm a project manager at the Ohio State University Drug Enforcement Policy Center, where we have two different service engagement projects. The first one that I'm going to talk about is called Opportunity Port. It's a record sealing project. And the other one that I'm going to be talking about is the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project. I'm going to present on Opportunity Port first, and then I will present on the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project. Okay, just a second. I'm gonna, oops, one moment. Okay. All right. So, okay, so we're gonna start with Opportunity Port. Opportunity Port began at Columbus City Council. Councilmember Dorns volunteered at a record sealing clinic and wanted to improve how we assisted justice-involved residents with their applications. We began formalizing some initial plans, and then COVID-19 happened, which forced us to rethink the way we went about designing the program. We decided to pursue the creation of a digital platform for record sealing that would bolster Franklin County's legal aid community and also provide remote service options for prospective applicants. The project was awarded grant dollars locally by Columbus City Council, and we were also a finalist in the Alliance for the American Dream competition, beating teams from all over the country. We were also, and as a result of that, we were awarded national grant dollars to build out the platform. Day-to-day operations for this project was moved to the Drug Enforcement and Policy Center in 2019. And at the end of the year, Opportunity Port began at the end of 2019. We moved it in 2021. And then at the end of 2021, we began serving applicants in Franklin County. To date, we've had over 400 people utilize Opportunity Port services. So, as many of you are probably aware, because we're all very interested in this space, over 70 million Americans have a criminal record, which makes it difficult for them to find jobs, secure housing, or get loans for businesses or schools. One way to alleviate the burden of a criminal record is to have that record sealed. For those of you unfamiliar with record sealing, it's a process by which someone can have their records removed from public view. I won't go over record sealing eligibility criteria or record sealing laws in this presentation. The focus of today's presentation is Opportunity Port, which is a service that connects people with record sealing assistance. But I will say that eligibility has expanded over the last decade and will continue to do so. In Ohio, record sealing is a petition-based process, which means a person has to submit an application. Record sealing in Ohio is not automatically granted. So with record sealing eligibility expanding, we need ways for people to more easily figure out if they are eligible and to help them apply. By sealing your record, sealing a record could be life-changing for many people. A couple years ago, we learned that record sealing does in fact work. In Michigan, recipients earned on average 25% more money within the first year of having their record sealed. And that figure was actually 30% for women of color. As you can imagine, if you're able to find a job and stay in your home or find stable housing, you're breaking the cycles that would otherwise influence you to commit offenses. So if record sealing works, why aren't more people applying? Either people don't know about record sealing, or they do know, but they don't know where to get help, and they don't know how to complete an application. While it sounds simple, fill out the form and submit, there are tons of hurdles people face. They can't download the application because they don't have access to internet or a computer or a printer. They aren't able to print it out, as I just stated. They can't get downtown to file their application with the court because they have transportation barriers, like they don't have a car, they're not on a bus line, and so on and so forth. So Opportunity Port needed to make the application process a better experience. It needed to be easier, full stop. It needed to meet applicants where they are. It also needed to meet legal help where they are in order for them to assist applicants more readily. These are very simple goals, which if we get it right, will result in helping more people successfully apply for record sealing. So I want to give a shout out to Smart Columbus, who provided guidance on Opportunity Port's initial creation. And thanks to them, we were able to produce Ohio's first ever digital record sealing platform. With people using technology more and more to get the services they need, we needed to make sure the site was easy to navigate and easy to understand. If you can fill out a Google form, you can use Opportunity Port. We also wanted to reduce as many barriers to the record sealing application process as possible. That's why Opportunity Port is mobile friendly. Lacking a computer, internet access, or a printer will not get in the way of using our services. Everything a person needs to apply for record sealing is in the palm of their hand. So all of our service providers offer over the phone appointments. So there's no need to take time off work or travel to be assisted. So how does Opportunity Port work? The first step is for an applicant to go to our website, www.opportunityport.org, and complete the survey. For those who make it to the end of the survey, they select a service provider and connect with legal help. If our service provider is able to complete a record sealing application for the applicant, they will either file the application on behalf of the applicant or email the completed application to the applicant so that the applicant can file on their own. If the service provider does file the application, Opportunity Port covers the fee. If the applicant chooses to file in person, they're able to fill out a fee waiver at the court at the time of filing. At this point, record sealing for an applicant is out of Opportunity Port's hands. We assist with the completion of an application, and sometimes we will file on behalf of the applicant, but the applicant must wait for information from the court for their hearing and attend a hearing to complete the application process, or to complete the record sealing process. So a few things that I want to point out about Opportunity Port. We only are available to those who are residents of Franklin County who have records in Franklin County. So we've had quite a few people who tried to use the tool who don't live in Franklin County, or they live in Franklin County, but they have records not in Franklin County. So this tool is only for residents of Franklin County with an offense history in Franklin County. While application assistance is free, not all service providers cover the filing fee. At the end of the Opportunity Port survey, when selecting a service provider, we show the differences in services so that the applicant can make the decision that best fits their needs. We're making the application process easier, but we aren't miracle workers. Some folks who complete the Opportunity Port survey may not be eligible. We do our best to manage expectations by educating users about record sealing as they take the Opportunity Port survey. Survey pop-ups occur if a user answers a question in a certain way. Regardless of a person's eligibility, connecting with legal help is important for users to better understand their own record and what options are available for relief. Our service providers don't just talk about record sealing, they also provide information on CQEs, which you learned about the other day, pardons, which you're about to learn about, and expedited pardons, which you'll also learn about here in a second, if someone is not eligible or is interested in learning more. Finally, we are not a private enterprise and we do not sell user data. We're collecting quite a bit of information about people, but it's very secure. We have very strict data security protocols. However, we do use data to produce reports about the program. Data in these reports are aggregated and de-identified, so there's no way a specific individual can be identified from these publications. So I've mentioned service providers quite a bit during this presentation, but who are the service providers? Opportunity Port partnered with local legal aid organizations to assist our users with their applications. Legal Aid, Equality Ohio, and the Self-Help Resource Center have been with the project since the beginning. In May, we're adding a fourth service provider at the Moritz College of Law. Some of these service providers have service guidelines based on income and household size, but in the case of Equality Ohio, the person must also be a member of the LGBTQ+ community. The survey takes care of the guesswork on this. A user only needs to provide correct information to be shown which service providers they qualify for. So I'm assuming that this audience is full of either people interested in applying for record sealing or have, have clients or constituents or, friends or family who might be interested. So one thing I'll say is if you want to get involved, if you want to spread the message about Opportunity Port or about record sealing services, you can go to our website, www.opportunityport.org, and click Get Involved. You can download and share our FAQ page, which has pretty much all the information that I talked about in this presentation. Or if you are a pro bono attorney or know someone who is an attorney who would like to volunteer through Opportunity Port, they can sign up to volunteer as a pro bono attorney by going to our Get Involved page on the website. If you have questions about this project, you can email info@opportunityport.org or miller.5311@osu.edu, which is my email address. Or you can submit a question through the Opportunity Port website by going to the Contact Us page. All right, so that concludes my presentation about Opportunity Port. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the next presentation, which give me just one moment. I'm going to stop sharing this one. We're going to move to the next one. Okay, bear with me. Okay. I just figured out the share presentation as presenter just a few minutes ago, so this should be fun. Okay, we'll do this. We'll go down here. There we go. Okie dokie. So now I just talked about record sealing, and now I'm going to present on the Expedited Pardon Project, the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project. So there are various forms of relief for someone who has a criminal record in Ohio. One of the forms of relief is record sealing, and if you're not eligible for record sealing, you can apply for a pardon. But within pardons, there is another type of pardon process called the Expedited Pardon Project. So that's specifically what this is. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the origins of the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project, or OGEP for short, the benefits of receiving a pardon, the differences between a traditional and expedited pardon, the project's eligibility criteria, and how the expedited pardon process works and how someone can apply. And then I'm not sure if we'll have questions through the chat because this is a live session, but if anyone who is on the chat wants to just put information into the chat, that would be fun. All right. So in 2019, the Office of Governor DeWine approached the Drug Enforcement Policy Center and the University of Akron School of Law with a proposal to make pardons more accessible for those who meet certain criteria. The Drug Enforcement Policy Center, and Akron also referred to as the project team, worked with the governor's office and the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction to design and launch the Expedited Pardon Project. In November 2021, OGEP brought on additional partners to serve more applicants across the state of Ohio. Okay. To date, we've had over 300 applications representing 46 Ohio counties and 12 states. Most applicants are applying to have 1 to 3 convictions pardoned, though we have had a few applicants who've had 5 or more convictions on their record. And here are some quick stats about the applicants themselves besides where they currently reside. We like to share these stats because they counter some misconceptions about pardon applicants. While it's true that a pardon recipient must be extraordinary in the eyes of the Ohio Parole Board and of the governor, that does not mean a pardon is only for well-off, well-connected individuals. In terms of race, our applicants are almost 50-50 between 50-50 white and Black applicants. Most applicants are male, though we have quite a few female applicants. Most applicants come from households that make less than $100,000 a year. These are working class people seeking relief from their convictions. You do not have to be best friends with the governor to receive a pardon. That's a really important message to spread. This is an accessible process. And all of these applicant characteristics are about expedited pardon applicants specifically, not about all pardon applicants in the state of Ohio. Important to note. A pardon releases a person from the entire punishment prescribed for an offense and helps to alleviate some of the collateral consequences stemming from that conviction. As I'm sure many of you know, there are multiple ways someone can seek relief, and pardons are just one of them. So I talked about record sealing earlier, but pardon is another option, and CQEs are another option, and that presentation was the other day. So these are just some of the ways that someone might benefit from a pardon. Also, all pardon convictions are eligible for record sealing. So if you do have a conviction that wasn't eligible for record sealing, you can have that conviction pardoned if it's pardoned, and then that offense can be sealed. I also mentioned earlier that OJEP brought additional partners on board. We call these partners service providers. Probably sounds very familiar. We have service providers for Opportunity Port. We also have service providers for OJEP. We have 5 service providers consisting of law schools and nonprofit organizations, as well as pro bono attorneys at private law firms. The service providers work closely with the project team at the Drug Enforcement Policy Center and the University of Akron to provide consistent quality legal help to clients of OJEP and to represent these clients at their parole board hearings. I'll talk a little bit more about service providers and the pardon process in the next few slides. So in general, the traditional path to a pardon can be lengthy, sometimes taking several years to complete. In comparison, the expedited pardon process takes between 6 to 12 months, depending on the case. In designing the expedited process, the project team recognized there were tasks that could be done at the same time to save time. So while service providers are assisting clients with their pardon applications, the parole board can conduct their investigation into the client. For anyone who is a fan of operational efficiency, we basically eliminated process dependencies so that we could do 2 things at once rather than waiting for one thing to get done before we could do the other. But paperwork isn't the only reason things move more quickly. The Ohio Parole Board set aside hearing appointments exclusively for expedited pardon applicants. So our clients have priority when it comes to scheduling a hearing. Also, applicants who are accepted into the expedited pardon project receive professional assistance. If you've ever tried to figure something out on your own, you know it takes a little longer. The help we provide is critical to speeding up the amount of time it might take someone to complete a pardon application. Applicants still play a huge role in the application process, however. There are things the service provider cannot do, like write the, lost my place. There are things the service provider cannot do, like write the applicant letter to the governor, which is part of the pardon application. It's important for an applicant, therefore, to be responsive and deliver what is asked of them in a timely manner if the service provider gives them, things to do to complete their application. All applicants must meet the following minimum requirements for consideration for OJEP, the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project. The applicant must have completed all felony or misdemeanor criminal convictions at least 10 years ago. That includes any probationary period. The 10-year clock starts ticking when an individual is released from any and all court-ordered supervision. The applicant must have no new criminal convictions in the 10-year period, with the exception of minor traffic tickets. The applicant must have made a good faith effort to pay all fines, court fees, and court-ordered restitution before applying to the project. The applicant must have some post-offense employment history or must present compelling reasons for why they cannot be employed, such as disability or retirement. The applicant must have some volunteer community service or otherwise demonstrate efforts to give back to their community. And finally, the applicant may not have been convicted of any disqualifying offenses, and we'll go over those here in a sec. Before I do that, I just want to note that meeting the minimum requirements does not guarantee admission to the project. The project team has discretion to decline applications that do not align with the mission of the project. So here is a list of disqualifying offenses, which includes most crimes of a violent or sexual nature. This list can be found on the OJEP website, which is www.ohioexpeditedpardon.com, but might also be in the chat really quickly. Let me double check that that's, yes, nope, org, www.ohioexpeditedpardon.org. Thank you, colleague. Okay. It's also important to note that while minor traffic violations are acceptable during the 10-year period, a DUI or OVI is not. A DUI or OVI is a criminal offense and therefore would disqualify an applicant if convicted within the last 10 years. If the DUI or OVI was pled down to a lesser offense, so you're originally charged with a DUI or OVI, but the result is not a DUI or OVI, the project team will evaluate whether the conviction, the final conviction, resulted in a minor traffic offense on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about what the application process looks like, and then that also kind of blends into what the pardon process looks like. An applicant must first complete the OJEP intake packet and submit it to the project team. The intake packet can be found on the OJEP website. We also have community partners who can assist applicants with downloading, printing, and completing the packet. Next, the project team pre-screens intake packets and conducts intake calls with the applicants to discuss the following: conviction information, including any out-of-state or federal convictions, the facts of each of their convictions, their work history, their community service history, and any other information that might impact the applicant's eligibility for an expedited pardon. The project team then determines whether to accept the applicant as a client. If they do, the project team notifies the client of their acceptance and then forwards accepted client files to the Ohio Parole Board so they can begin their investigation. In the second stage of the process, accepted clients are assigned to a service provider, and they work together to complete a pardon application. This entails gathering letters of support and supporting documentation such as awards, degree certificates, and diplomas, paperwork from clerks or police departments if necessary, and writing a letter to the governor. The completed pardon application is then submitted to the Ohio Parole Board, and the board schedules the client for an expedited hearing. The service provider prepares the client for the hearing and represents them at the hearing. The board then submits its recommendations to the governor. The governor makes the final decision on each pardon application. It's worth mentioning here that pardon convictions are eligible for record sealing under Ohio law. I mentioned it before, but it's worth repeating. If after acceptance into the project, a client is involved in criminal activity or there are new developments that would dramatically diminish the prospects for a pardon, the project team may advise the project client to pursue a traditional pardon. So I just spoke about what happens if someone is accepted, but of course, not all intake packets are perfect and not all applicants are ideal for the expedited pardon project. For this reason, an applicant may be conditionally accepted, or they may be found ineligible. Conditionally accepted means the project team needs additional information from the applicant, or the applicant needs to meet certain conditions to be accepted. If the applicant provides sufficient information or meets the conditions, their status may change to accepted. A few examples of a conditional acceptance are: the applicant still owes fines, fees, or restitution for a conviction. The applicant doesn't have enough community service or volunteer experience. In that case, we encourage applicants to go out, get that experience, and reapply in 6 months. Or the applicant needs to be evaluated for substance use disorders if their offense was motivated by drug use. If an applicant is not eligible for the project team will discuss this decision with the applicant and encourage the applicant to apply through the traditional pardon process. Again, anyone can apply for a pardon through the traditional process. The expedited pardon project is for very specific applicants with very specific offenses. Even so, that's not a guarantee for acceptance. The project team uses discretion in who they accept based on best fit for the project and likelihood of receiving a pardon. So all the information that I just provided here can also be found on the OJEP website. That's ohioexpeditedpardon.org. If you have questions not answered by the presentation or the project website, please feel free to reach out to us via email or submit a contact form on the OJEP website. My email is miller.5311@osu.edu. It's not here, and I meant to put it here. The OJEP email is info@ojep.osu.edu. It's ojep@osu.edu. I apologize. ojep@osu.edu. And I also mentioned that you can submit any questions you have through the project site at ohioexpeditedpardon.org/contact/us/contact. Oh, I messed that up. Let me start over. ohioexpeditedpardon.org/contact-us/. So thank you so much for letting me present to you today about the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project, as well as Opportunity Port. We look forward to getting this information out into the community and serving residents of Franklin County. Thanks again.